All right, guys, I'm going to set this one up for you. But this is the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board. And Pastor Rich Nathan, who I'm going to put his face right here, this guy, he thought it was an intelligent question to ask. Should we require police officers to wear a body camera while off duty? Because if they get in a shooting while off duty, then we need to make sure there's evidence. I've got video. He really did ask this question, and he was serious when he asked this question.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what the policy is, but if you're an off-duty officer, you come upon a situation that requires, your assistance. Is that covered anywhere, not special duty, but off-duty? Can an off-duty officer use deadly force in breaking up a, situation that they determine is, where deadly force is required? And second, where do body-worn cameras fit in with off-duty officers?
Where do these people come from? I'm sorry. I'm sitting here and he's staring at me, and it's so funny because he's like 100% serious. This is giving me tears. Oh, whoever said there's no such thing as stupid questions is a moron. And they probably asked too many stupid questions, and they're tired of people telling them that their questions are stupid. So they were like, there's no such thing as stupid questions. I guess, the version that I heard of that when I was in the military was, there are no stupid questions. There's a lot of stupid people that ask questions. Maybe that's where he falls. I don't know. Oh my gosh. So what he's recommending is he wants to know if there should be like a policy so that officers have to wear body cameras when they're off duty in case they are involved in a shooting, so that there's evidence of that shooting. And he elaborated on, after a little bit of back and forth with a commander from the Columbus Division of Police, but I'm not gonna bore you with all of that. This stuff is asinine. This is the reason that the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board will never have authority over the Division of Police. They don't have the foggiest understanding of police work, how police officers do their job, what the rules are governing police officers. They don't understand how the real world works. This is like the most clueless collection of individuals that I have ever witnessed in my entire life. It's madness. Like, can you, I don't know. I'm trying to even think about like wearing a body camera while off duty. Like, I'm wearing a really thin t-shirt. Do I have to wear a body camera right now with my really thin t-shirt and wear this everywhere I go? If I leave the house, do I have to wear it when I'm at the gym working out? Do I have to wear it when I'm on my bike going for a ride? Do I have to wear it every time I have a firearm with me? Like, I have to wear my body camera in church? No, you freaking idiot. That's like the dumbest thing in the world. Now, part of his question, I will justify with the response, because I guess some people might be curious about this. It's just crazy that he thinks that off-duty cops are going to be using deadly force all the time. It's not very often. Like, when an off-duty police officer is forced to shoot somebody when he's not at work, it makes national headlines, and I can't think of a single one that was bad. If an officer is off duty and he's thrust into a situation where he has to use deadly force, he's going to be like the hero of the day. There's going to be like a mass casualty event, some of the shooting going on, something like that. It has to be a big deal for an officer to be off duty and use his service weapon. Now, like I said, the part that I will justify with the response is, when our officers permitted or even required to act while off duty. That is something that I will speak on because I have been off duty and made a felony arrest. I recorded a whole video about it a couple years ago. I was actually coming home from work and there was a suspicious guy standing between my house and my neighbor's house. I thought maybe he was just visiting my neighbor and I harassed him a little bit. Then it became clear that he wasn't visiting anyone because he said that he was visiting his cousin and he pointed at my house. I was not this man's cousin. Other than Dexter Pitts, I don't have any black cousins out there that would be walking out of my house carrying a laptop computer and a cell phone charger. So I ordered him to the ground, called 911. He decided to take off running. Thank God he let me call 911 first. We hopped a couple fences. I ended up tackling him, putting him in, like I had him in like by the neck. I was squeezing his earring, actually cut my bicep like a little bit, and he had some blood running down the side of his neck from me squeezing on him. Turns out that he had committed like 8 burglaries that evening, and he had a van parked in front of my house full of stolen TVs. There was also a stolen TV in my backyard. So I've had to act while off duty, and that was a felony. This guy was committing a felony, so I was able to act while off duty. I got an award for discovering an unknown felony while off duty, all of that kind of stuff. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. But the rules for us are basically that you're prohibited from acting outside of your official duty. So while I'm off duty, you're prohibited from acting in basically misdemeanor crimes. So you can't enforce traffic, which, you get those cops that are out there like trying to slow people down. And no, if you're off duty and you're trying to enforce traffic, that's just road rage. You can't enforce misdemeanor theft things. Cause like when I was new, one of my buddies who's no longer on the department, not because of this, but he got in a foot chase. He was chasing down a shoplifting suspect from like Home Depot or something like that. And he's on his phone. He maybe even got his walkie. I can't quite remember, but he's like, calling out this foot chase and everything. And people are trying to get to him. And then when they got to him, he got in trouble because it's not a felony. And then, so you are allowed to interact with people if they're actively committing a felony. You're not allowed to intercede when it's a misdemeanor. You're also, if it's an act of violence, you can get in the middle of that, although I wouldn't recommend it in most cases. If it's an act of extreme violence, like a shooting or a rape or a kidnapping or something like that, then you are actually required to act. When I say not to act in like when you see an act of violence going on, I'm talking about like a street fight or something like that. If there's some locals, some kids or whatever, and they're having a fight, you're off duty. You can let them fight. You getting in the middle of that is going to do nothing other than get yourself hurt. You're not showing up in a big car with like big flashing blue lights. You're not in your uniform. You don't have your bat belt, all your bat tools on your belt. You don't have handcuffs. You're not going to be in a good situation if you do that. That's what I'll say there. But also, these instances of a police officer being forced to act or respond while off duty are incredibly rare. And on the instances where they do occur, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be like a major event, or there's going to be plenty of witnesses around. So it's not like, the lack of body camera means there's going to be a lack of evidence if a police officer discharges his firearm while off duty. Now the cases, now if the officer is not doing the right thing, or if he finds himself alone with somebody, discharges his firearm, that's a completely different situation, right? That's not like he saw something going on and he had to act. This is probably a self-defense claim, something like that. And then that's going to be scrutinized. And it doesn't matter if you're a police officer or if you're not a police officer, those situations are going to be scrutinized. I would also like to remind Pastor Rich Nathan that there was a time, I think he's old enough to remember this time because I believe he's a little bit older than I am, and I remember this time. There was a time in this country where there weren't cameras everywhere, and we actually had to do investigations, and we still figured out who the murderers were, and we still figured out what happened using good old-fashioned police work and forensics and all the other stuff. One of the most unfortunate things that has happened, and I talked to one of my buddies who's a retired homicide detective, and one of the things that I talked to him about shortly before he retired, he was so frustrated that for some reason now there's this belief that if it didn't happen on video, then it didn't happen and you can't prove it. We need to get out of that mentality. The other mentality is DNA. If you don't have video and you don't have DNA, you're not getting a conviction. That's bullshit. Like, we need to remember that cameras always haven't been here. We've figured out who done it prior to cameras. We can still figure out who done it prior to cameras. We can still paint a picture of what happened without cameras. If a regular citizen out on the street has to discharge his weapon in self-defense, we're pretty good at figuring out what happened. No, it's absolutely insane. Like, no person with a brain would ask that question in an official meeting. Like, these are the type of stupid things that people say in the comment sections of YouTube videos. This is not something that is a serious person that is meant to be in his position. This is the reason that there is no respect for the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board. Absolutely insane. I don't know. I think I'm out of things to say. I'm out of here. Talk to you guys later.